This is your Barbados Today morning news update for Tuesday, November the 6th. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news at this hour, the state-owned Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation has announced its intention to send home just over half of its 230-strong workforce, while also agreeing to a proposal by the employees' bargaining agent for voluntary separation. Special Advisor and former General Secretary of the Barbados Workers Union, Sir Roy Trotman, broke the news last evening to reporters following more than 2 hours of talks with management of the CBC at the Pine St. Michael. Sir Roy said the BWU delegation tried unsuccessfully to get the corporation to give an enhanced separation package to those volunteering to leave.
Today's meeting was a follow-up to the one which we held last Friday. When we met on Friday, we decided that it was necessary and it was according to the protocol and to the law that what CBC should do was to allow, first of all, for a discussion that would give people the chance to volunteer for separation if they so desired. So CBC has done that, and we expect that sometime over the next 2 or 3 days, those persons who wish to leave CBC will do so. We were hoping to get an enhanced package for those separations, but CBC has been insisting that the circumstances of its finances are so dire that they are not able to go beyond what are the limits set out in the Employment Rights Act and the Severance Payments Act.
Turning his attention specifically to the retrenchments, he told reporters these would be discussed in more detail during a follow-up meeting with management on Monday afternoon.
Our understanding is that it will be shedding 116 persons, 116, or 52% of its current staff. That drinks deep. It cuts very, very deep, and it's painful. Not because we haven't had other places where we had large numbers, but those were where the numbers were even greater. This is 116 or possibly 230. So you can see just how grave that is.
Meanwhile, Assistant General Secretary of the National Union of Public Workers, Wayne Waldron, says government may have to recall some of the clerical officers it has terminated because their absence in some departments is creating chaos.
For example, customs, you go and move officers on customs, and there's a backup in customs. Right? You got the land adjudicator, unit, which the Ministry of Housing, and those tenors, critical officers, stenographer type is. You said they provide a lot of critical support for that department, and that department is in a dire state right now in terms of that absence of critical support to move the service department. So that department has been tremendously affected too.
And former president of the NUPW, Walter Maloney, is questioning whether the unions in the country have placed alternatives on the table that did not involve job cuts.
My really real peeve was that any union operating in this environment in 2018 must be doing it at a particular level, a level where that states that these are alternatives to layoffs. Let us look at different things we can do instead of going to directly to laying off. And the people who will be laid off is mostly young people anyhow.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Welcome back with news from the region now. The people of Grenada and Antigua and Barbuda are voting simultaneously today to say whether or not the countries will replace the British Privy Council with the Caribbean Court of Justice as their final court of appeal. Debate surrounding the poll, which runs from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., has been highly charged with divisive views on the real purpose of the bill that provides for today's referendum. Member of the CCJ Advisory Committee in Grenada, Dr. Francis Alexis, has been trying to explain what the bill is for.
There is nothing else to which this bill can be put other than complying with the preamble to the CCJ agreement, to have the CCJ play a determinative role in the further development of Caribbean jurisprudence through the judicial process.
And on the international scene, Americans vote in a bitter midterm election today in a fight for control of the U.S. Congress. Yesterday, NBC, Fox News, and Facebook pulled an ad by President Donald Trump's campaign that critics had labeled racist.
Tuesday's elections could bring a new dawn for Democrats, not just in Washington, but in state capitals across the country, where Republicans have been dominant for years. I'm Andy Sullivan in Arlington, Virginia, a state that Democrats hope is a sign of things to come. Voters here rejected a Trump-backed candidate for governor last year and elected more Democrats to the state legislature. The party hopes to see that story play out across the country on Tuesday, and they could end up winning in some surprising places. Marquee governor's races in Georgia.
This is going to be a razor-close election.
And Florida.
Hello, Miami!
Are drawing national attention, but that's only part of the story. Republican Governor Scott Walker is struggling in Wisconsin, trying to win a fourth election. Democratic challenger Tony Evers is reminding voters that Walker eroded public unions. In deep red Kansas, Democrat Laura Kelly is running neck and neck with Republican Chris Kobach. Voters looking for a new direction after deep spending cuts enacted by former Republican Governor Sam Brownback.
We can either reverse course and go back to the Brownback experiment, which totally devastated our state, or we can go forward.
And that's news. But for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Now you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.